Tommy Egan is back, and he's more dangerous than ever. The streets of Chicago are burning again, but this time, the fire feels different. Every move, every look, every quiet moment is hiding a clue about what's coming next. Season 3 starts with power shifting in every direction, and if you blinked, you might have missed the biggest signs of what's really going on. Let's break down every clue, every hidden message, and every setup that could change everything for Tommy and everyone around him. The episode opens with a sense of tension that feels like a storm just before it hits. You can tell right away that Tommy is not the same man we saw last season. He's colder now, sharper, more focused. The streets of Chicago haven't softened him. They've hardened him into something else. When he steps back into the game, it's not just business, it's personal. He's still carrying Ghost's death, Liliana's memory, the weight of every loss that's made him who he is. And that's the first clue. This isn't just a story about power. It's about how much a man is willing to lose to get it back. We see Tommy trying to rebuild his empire, but the walls around him are already cracked. Diamond is trying to keep the peace, but his own brother's loyalty is slipping. The Flynn family is falling apart from the inside, with Vic caught between revenge and survival, and Claudia moving like a snake in the grass. Every character walks into this episode with blood on their hands, and everyone's pretending to start fresh, but the streets don't forget. The moment Tommy sits down with Diamond, you can feel the tension. It's not trust, it's business wrapped in fear. Every smile hides a threat. Every deal is a test. The writers made it clear from the start, Season 3 is not about building something new. It's about cleaning up what's left. The episode doesn't waste time reminding us who Tommy is. Instead, it shows us how far he's willing to go. When he walks through those dark alleys, when the camera follows his back, it's not just about a man on a mission. It's a symbol he's walking through his own past. Every shot feels heavier. Every silence means more. You can almost feel that something is about to explode. There's a moment early in the episode where Tommy looks at the city skyline, and for a split second, he seems lost in thought. That's the show's quiet way of telling us he's thinking about the cost of power. He wants control, but deep down, he knows control always comes with loss. That's the trap of the power universe. Every character wants the throne, but no one keeps it without bleeding for it. It's that silent war between wanting peace and needing chaos that makes this episode so strong. And if you look closely, there's a hidden detail in the way the episode is shot. The lighting is colder, darker, more blue-toned, showing that Chicago has become more of a battlefield than ever before. It's not the same city Tommy first came to conquer. It's harder, meaner, and full of ghosts. Even the music is different, less flashy, more haunting. The sound design builds that feeling that everything's about to fall apart, even when the characters think they have control. That's what makes the first half of this episode so powerful. It's quiet tension done right by the time we reach the end of the first act. It's clear that Tommy's not just fighting enemies, he's fighting time. Every move he makes feels like a reaction, not a plan. The city is catching up to him. The game he once ran is now running him. But here's the secret that most people missed. Tommy doesn't fear the fight. He fears becoming what he hates. That's why every decision feels heavier this season. The show isn't just building toward another war. It's building toward Tommy realizing that power doesn't save you, it destroys you. Piece by piece. In this episode, every character is playing two games, the one everyone can see, and the one that's happening in the shadows. That's the heart of Power Book 4, Force. It's never just about the drugs or the deals. It's about control, loyalty, and survival. What makes this episode so clever is how it hides those battles in plain sight. When Tommy meets with Diamond, they speak like partners, but their eyes tell a different story. Diamond wants structure, something steady. Tommy wants expansion, and fast. You can feel that their goals are about to collide, even if they don't realize it yet. That's one of the first hidden clues of the season. This partnership is already breaking, and it's only episode 1. The writing in this episode is sharp because it plays with silence. Watch how the camera stays on characters after they stop talking. It's in those quiet seconds that the truth shows. Diamond's patience is turning into doubt. Tommy's confidence hides fear. And Vic Flynn, he's pretending to be lost, but his eyes tell you he's plotting something. That's the game behind the game. Every character is wearing a mask, and every mask is starting to crack. There's a powerful moment when Tommy visits the old spot where he and Liliana once planned to take over the city. The place is empty now, stripped bare, just like Tommy's trusting people. But the camera lingers on a broken mirror on the wall. That's no accident. In Power, mirrors always mean reflection, literally and emotionally. The reflection of Tommy's face in that shattered glass says it all. He's not just seeing himself. He's seeing the pieces of the man he used to be. The man who trusted ghosts, who dreamed big, who believed he could run an empire without losing his soul. That mirror scene is one of those moments you might miss if you're not looking closely, but it's one of the best visual clues in the episode. Meanwhile, the Flynn family story moves in a different but connected direction. Claudia is acting cold, calculating, and distant, but it's not just ambition, it's fear. She knows her family name doesn't hold power anymore. There's a quick shot where she hides a phone call from Vic. Most people might not think much of it, but that's a setup. It's a clue that Claudia's alliances are about to twist. Someone else is pulling her strings, or she's setting up something much bigger than anyone suspects. Vic, on the other hand, walks through this episode like a ghost himself. He's broken, but not beaten. You can tell he's been watching everyone, especially Tommy, and there's something in his tone that feels dangerous. Like he's ready to cross a line he never dared to before. The cinematography helps tell this story better than any line of dialogue. Watch how every meeting happens in dark rooms, tight corners, or under flickering lights. That's not random. It's a visual wave showing that nobody's future is clear. Everyone is half in the dark, half in the light, trapped between doing what's right and doing what keeps them alive. The streets aren't just a setting anymore. They're a reflection of the characters themselves, unpredictable, cold, and ready to strike back at any moment. And then there's the money scene, the first major deal Tommy makes this season. On the surface, it looks like business as usual. But look again. The person who delivers the product hesitates before handing it over. That pause, that half-second look, that's not filler. It's a clue. Someone inside the operation doesn't trust Tommy, or worse, is feeding information to the other side. The Power writers love doing this, planting a betrayal early so it explodes later. So when that moment comes back in episode 4 or 5, it'll feel like a shock. But the hint was already here. By the end of this section of the episode, you can tell everything is building toward a massive shakeup. Tommy is trying to run the city, but the city is already running on secrets. Every side deal, every handshake, every whisper in a dark room, it's all setting up the next explosion. That's what makes this season feel more dangerous than before. In the past, Tommy fought enemies he could see. Now, his enemies are the ones smiling across the table. If you really think about it, that's what makes Power Book 4 stand out from the rest of the Power universe. It's not just about power anymore. It's about who's willing to destroy everything to hold on to it. The episode doesn't need to scream that message. It shows it in every slow look, every flick of Tommy's lighter, every shadow that passes across a face. It's the game behind the game. And in Chicago, nobody plays fair the deeper you get into this episode. The more you realize that the real war in Power Book 4 isn't being fought with guns, it's being fought with whispers. Chicago itself feels alive this season. The streets seem to be talking, watching, and waiting. Every corner, every alleyway carries stories that the characters don't want to face. And the message those streets are whispering is simple. Power doesn't stay quiet for long. Tommy moves through the city like a ghost with unfinished business. He's building something big, but he's doing it surrounded by people who want pieces of him. He's trying to create a world where he can be the boss without the baggage, but the city keeps pulling him back into the dirt. When he walks into that warehouse scene, the one where he meets the new supplier, it's not just another deal. It's a test. The way the camera circles around him, slow and tense, feels like the city itself is watching to see if he still deserves the crown. Every shot, every pause feels like it's saying, how long before he loses control again? One of the most powerful details you might have missed is how often Tommy looks over his shoulder. It's a small thing, but it happens throughout the episode. He does it in the car, on the street, and even during meetings. It's a symbol Tommy isn't just being cautious. He's haunted. He's living like a man who's expecting the past to grab him from behind. This is what makes Season 3 different. It's not just about him fighting for power. It's about him running from ghosts that never died. Now let's talk about Diamond. On the surface, he's calm, trying to be the voice of reason, but this episode plants a seed of doubt inside him. There's a moment when one of his crew members questions his leadership, not loudly, but you can feel it. It's just a look, a small hesitation, but in power. Those are the clues that mean everything. That look tells you that Diamond's world is about to shake. His peace is temporary. The streets are watching him too, waiting to see if he can hold it together when Tommy's chaos comes crashing in. And then there's Vic Flynn. His story this season is written in silence. He doesn't talk much in this episode, but when he does, every word feels heavy. You can see the pain in him, the guilt, the anger, the quiet desire for revenge. The scene where he's standing by the river, staring at the water, might seem like filler, but it's one of the most telling shots in the entire episode. It's a callback to his sister Gloria's death, the river, the reflection, the loneliness. It's like he's talking to her ghost without saying a word. But here's what makes it powerful. The camera angle shows his reflection breaking in the water. It's symbolic. His past is broken. His future's unclear. He's trying to hold on, but he's already slipping. Meanwhile, Claudia's moves are getting bolder. She's in the background, but her actions speak louder than any line of dialogue. The way she walks into that club meeting, calm but confident, shows she's no longer scared of the men who once controlled her. But what makes her scenes interesting is the detail, the subtle focus on her hands. In multiple shots, she's either gripping a glass or holding something tight. That's a visual clue from the directors. It's showing how she's trying to hold on to control, even when everything's falling apart. It's small, but it's powerful storytelling. Throughout this episode, the writers use small actions to hint at big betrayals. A missed phone call, a half-finished sentence, a sudden camera cut right before someone answers a question. These are the kind of details power fans know to pay attention to. They're not mistakes, they're signals. They tell you who's lying, who's plotting, and who's about to make a move that changes everything. By the time the episode reaches its midpoint, you can feel the weight of what's coming. The city feels smaller. The air feels heavier. It's like everyone's trapped in a box that's slowly closing in. That's what makes this episode so brilliant. It's not rushing to the action. It's building pressure, making every second count. Every look, every line, every silence feels like it's setting up something big. And if you listen closely to the background, the way the music fades in certain scenes, you'll notice something new. There's a low, pulsing beat that plays whenever Tommy makes a major decision. It's not loud, but it's always there. That's a new theme, a musical clue that follows him like a shadow. It's the sound of danger catching up to him. The show is literally giving his downfall a rhythm, a heartbeat that grows louder the deeper he goes into the game. The brilliance of this episode isn't in what it shows, it's in what it hides. It makes you feel like you're watching a crime story, but you're actually watching a man trying to escape his own reflection. Chicago isn't just his battlefield, it's his mirror. And every corner he turns just shows him another part of himself that he's trying not to face. That's the clue most people miss. The city isn't his enemy. It's his conscience. By the time the episode reaches its final act, everything feels like it's about to snap. The tension that's been building since the opening scene finally catches fire. Tommy stands in the middle of it all, the man who's fought his way up from the bottom, but now he's surrounded by ghosts, lies, and traps of his own making. The streets that once made him powerful now feel like they're swallowing him whole. This isn't the same Tommy who used to laugh in the face of danger. This is a man who's learning that power doesn't come free, it comes with a bill that keeps getting higher. The closing scenes carry a kind of quiet chaos. There's no loud explosion, no flashy ending, but everything about it feels heavy. The air in the room thickens when Tommy finally looks at what he's built. He's got soldiers, connections, respect, but he's standing alone. And that's the hidden message of episode 1. Tommy may have power, but he has no peace. It's a pattern that's followed him from New York to Chicago. Every time he wins, he loses something bigger. That's why the camera lingers on his face at the end, that long, cold stare into nothing. It's not victory. It's realization. There's a powerful visual clue in that last scene, the light flickering above him. It's not random. In the Power universe, lighting always mirrors emotion. The flickering bulb isn't just part of the set. It's a metaphor. It represents instability, doubt, the idea that even Tommy's brightest moments can turn dark in a second. It's the show's way of saying, you might think he's in control, but even the light doesn't trust him. That's smart filmmaking, using the smallest details to say the loudest things. Meanwhile, the side stories are quietly preparing for a storm. Diamond's moment of hesitation earlier in the episode comes back when he gets a phone call he doesn't answer. The number is blocked, but the look on his face says everything. Someone from his past is reaching out. That call isn't just a setup. It's a warning. It means that no matter how much Diamond tries to play clean, the dirt always finds its way back. That phone call will matter later, and it's one of those clues the writers drop early to remind us that nothing in this world stays buried for long. Claudia's final scene is even more chilling. She's in her apartment, sitting at her desk, scrolling through names and numbers. The camera zooms in on a single contact, one she highlights but doesn't call. The screen fades before we see who it is, but that half second tells us everything. She's plotting something that even her family doesn't know about. That one shot, just her thumb hovering over the name, is a silent promise that betrayal is coming. And it won't come from the outside. It'll come from within. Then there's Vic. The show leaves his story hanging, but not without clues. The way he looks at Tommy in their brief encounter, the calm, cold expression, isn't the same Vic from last season. It's a new man, one who's done trying to survive. There's a slow burn in his eyes, a quiet rage. You can tell he's not done with Tommy. He's just waiting for the right moment. That's what makes this episode so dangerous. Everyone looks calm, but every calm face hides a loaded gun. The city itself almost becomes a character in these final moments. The rain starts to fall, the streets shine under the lights, and the camera pulls back to show the skyline. It's beautiful but deadly, like a crown made of glass. You can tell that Chicago is both Tommy's empire and his curse. It gives him power, but it's also the thing that's going to test every part of him. The way the music swells here, slow, heavy, almost mournful, tells us that this season isn't just about domination. It's about survival. The final clue of episode 1 comes just before the credits roll, that unmarked black car following Tommy. It doesn't speed. It doesn't attack. It just follows. That's the writers telling us the past is still chasing him. It could be a rival, a ghost from his New York days, or someone closer than he thinks. But the key detail is this. Tommy doesn't notice it. He drives away, thinking he's safe. That's the message right there. In the world of power, danger doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it waits in silence, just around the corner as the episode fades out. We're left with that uneasy feeling, like we've just watched the beginning of something explosive. But we don't know where the fire will start. And that's exactly what the writers want. Power Book 4 for Season 3 doesn't just tell a story. It builds a trap. Every clue, every look, every quiet scene is a thread in that trap. Episode 1 isn't about answering questions. It's about planting them. It's setting up a war that's going to be more personal, more painful. and more unpredictable than anything we've seen from Tommy before. And when you step back and look at it all, the clues, the symbols, the silences, one truth stands out above everything else. The real enemy in power has never been another person. It's the hunger for control, the need to prove you can survive the world without losing yourself. That's Tommy's curse, and it's the same curse that's haunted every main character in the Power universe. The difference is, this time, Tommy knows it, and that makes him even more dangerous.